Now, what's the deal with marijuana in MMA?
It's pretty much legal now. They don't
in
care
season,
if,
out
yes,
of season.
Yeah, it's fine. They just they've lowered the acceptable level, or they've raised it rather, like what you could have in your bloodstream. You basically just can't be high the day of the fight.
Yeah, and that's another interesting one. I mean, that acts. Especially THC acts on a lot of these mTOR pathways. You know, that's the same thing with a lot of these anti-aging compounds, right? Like rapamycin or metformin to a lesser extent acts on that mTOR pathway and inhibits it, right? But again, it's short term with something like marijuana, and you also get this pain killing effect. And there was, I forget if this was a study or if it was like anecdotal, but it's almost like a higher thrill-seeking effect. Like the endocannabinoid system, when stimulated, shuts down some of your sense of fear when it comes to experiencing a new adventure.
Really?
And so you actually go adventure seeking more. And when you look at like ultra runners, anybody who's competing in a non complex activity in which they might have already developed the ability to be able to be in the zone, right? They've put in their 10,000 hours of practice and they're able to just kind of check out and go into automatic mode. When you combine that with the pain quelling effect of something like, in most cases, like a THC CBD combo is what a lot of ultra runners are using. I'm not sure what they'd use in MMA right now. But ultimately, you get a good effect, but the loss of reaction time and the loss of the ability to be able to perform complex tasks, which they've proven in like flight simulation studies, dictates that it's still not that great of a drug if you were going to be doing complex tasks.
Here's the question, though. When they're talking about reaction studies, are they talking about reaction studies for people that are acclimated to taking marijuana, or are they talking about it with people where they take someone who's a sober person and they introduce them to marijuana and there's this overwhelming effect of it? Because one of the things that happens to people that aren't accustomed to THC is the freak out effect, where they're just like, they're not comfortable with the experience. After a while, the way it's described, and again, this is all anecdotal, but by people that are accustomed to it, they say you just get good at being high. And see, the reaction time thing I don't buy, because a lot of strikers, a lot of kickboxers, they train while they're on marijuana. It's very common.
I believe it. I mean, the study on reaction time was done on pilots, and there's a few more blinky lights in a cockpit than a mat. So there might have been more going on.
Sure, but that's the question is, are they experienced stoners? Or are these people that are freaking out and maybe the reaction time is they're spacing out and they don't know what the fuck this experience is like, and they might have anxiety because of it. You know, there's a lot of really overwhelming sensations that come with that marijuana high, and a lot of them, you call paranoia or oversensitivity, and sometimes you get paralysis by analysis when you're under the influence of those things. Where
it's the acute versus chronic effect.
But with jiu-jitsu, personally, my personal experience with jiu-jitsu and marijuana is it's an enhancer. And I've argued this, that I think it's a performance-enhancing drug.
With CBD? Do you combine it with CBD?
No, just marijuana.
Yeah, that's what a lot of endurance athletes are, like folks in the ultra running community are using it now. Like they'll use like a trace amount of THC combined with CBD, like a 4-to-1 to a 10-to-1 CBD to THC ratio. And I think, now with the Farm Bill and increasing legality, I think this idea of developing sports performance supplements for athletes, who aren't competing in sports where that is banned, are going to be steered in the direction of like high CBD and then some of these other novel molecules, right? Like CBG or CBN.
I'm not aware of those. What are those?
Yeah, there's all these different,
cannabinoids?
Not just terpenes. Yeah, CBG, CBN are cannabinoids. THC-8 is an anti-inflammatory that's totally different than THC-9.
Are these from orally ingesting it or from smoking it or vaporizing it?
No, they actually are now isolating these in labs, almost like organic chemistry. And you can take hemp or marijuana and you can actually isolate specific compounds and then combine them. So you could take like CBG, CBD, combine that with other terpenes from like whatever, let's say lavender and valerian and chamomile, and make like a de-stress relaxation type of compound. Or you could do like a THC but a THC-8 instead of a THC-9 and combine that with like cinnamon and peppermint, maybe some caffeine or creatine or something like that to make like more of a pick-me-up type of compound. But I think that's the wave of the future when it comes to a lot of these marijuana companies that are developing stuff for specific goals.
I know a lot of folks that are trying the CBD that use it for inflammation, especially athletes, like it with a little bit of THC. They seem to think it's more effective. There's some sort of combined effect of the THC with the CBD.
Yeah, they call that the entourage effect. When you have all the different terpenes and the endocannabinoids playing
Which one's
together.
turtle?
Yeah, which one's turtle? I have no clue.
So there's hundreds of different cannabinoids, right?
I don't think there's hundreds.
What?
I think there's at least dozens. I don't know about hundreds.
How many of them? Let's find out.
if you look at a chart of the different endocannabinoids they've actually discovered, if you were to just Google
113.
I don't know.
113.